Hello and welcome back to Dare and Doing. I'm Will Hester and I'm joined by the brilliant Ben Bowman. Ben,
Yeah.
do you actually care about last night or?
Welcome to hell. Welcome to hell, sucker. No, not really. Not really.
Yeah. It's actually, in a way, you could take it as positive as possible. It was a learning experience from us as fans to just watch like the sort of the fat in the squad, and see what needs trimming down, and also, but like maybe also the potential as well. It was a bit of a mix, wasn't it? I'll be honest. I've raised my hands up. Yeah. Put my hands up. I said I'm sorry. Yeah.
I made a mistake. A genuine mistake.
A genuine mistake. I didn't watch the game last night. I was at work, and when I saw the result and I came home and I was like, "How many shots did we fucking concede?" I was like, "Should I watch this? Probably not." I watched the highlights, and then I was
I think that's probably for the best.
I gauged the timeline from Twitter, basically. I was like, "Why would I put myself?" I will watch it, 100%. I will. I have to, but I will have to watch it. But I just like,
you text me.
We'll but that this morning.
Yeah. Got some ironing to do. Got some washing to do. Do I really need to watch back the 90 minutes of Galatasaray 3 Spurs 2? Probably not. Well, you texted me last night and was like, "Do I need to watch this?" And I was like, "Nah."
Yeah. Well,
don't put yourself through it,
here, mate, because you've already done like a tactical breakdown on your YouTube page. So this is a learning experience for me, and also a bit of catharsis. If you are feeling sore from last night, just a bit of catharsis. Mr. Ben Bowman is going to take you through it. Okay.
Yeah. Also, if you are feeling like sad about it, just grow up.
Yeah, I mean, fucking move on, mate.
Well, you grow
Galatasaray. It was the game of their lives, and we were like,
let's
put Fraser Forster in goal. Like, Vicario, give him a bit of rest. Okay, so the first question was how much, like, how you actually feeling about that game, because obviously I didn't watch it, but despite a lot of fans not feeling like particularly up for it either, I think there was a sense of frustration still because of the performance. And also that performance and the way we lost, I know we got one back, but it's allowed for it's allowed the narrative to presume from the likes of TNT Sports, from the media, from
fuck me,
from like rival fans, that this sort of like this is who we are, Spurs, sort of like how fragile we are, that it's allowed for that narrative to presume. But I think if you got your head screwed on, you're a Spurs fan, like I don't think you can be frustrated. Like, I'm not going to tell you how to be. I haven't watched the fucking game, but like of course you could be frustrated. Being a fan, you're in with every single game, the emotions, and you have every right to be annoyed, and you were feeling annoyed as well. But like the result, at least there's a little bit of leeway in the fact that we rested a lot of players, and the result hasn't got a massive significance right now for us, and we go into Ipswich. But what were your frustrations creeping in for you from that game? Because there were a lot.
Yeah, I mean we were really poor, really poor. Just lack of kind of composure in possession, playing out from the back, which is something that we've seen that we definitely lose when Christian Romero's not there. Dragusin is coming in for a lot of criticism, which I totally understand, because when you watch back the goals and watch back the game, he had a bit of a nightmare. He did have a nightmare, but I think there were. Yeah, I mean, Osimhen, like I was saying this last night, it is mad how Osimhen is at Galatasaray, isn't it? Like, it is crazy.
It's like career mode when you simulated like 15 years down the line of FIFA career mode. And you're like, fuck Galatasaray, I've signed Osimhen. Like,
except he's like 25 or whatever. They put us on so much pressure. They deserved it. The thing is, if we were just a little bit more composed in that game, look, it's hard to go there and be composed because you're going to have a young team. Will Lancashire starting up front, Gray at left back, Bergville in midfield, Dragusin, who's kind of obviously been in and out of the team, obviously, and you know, Fraser Forster in goal, who's not young, but my God, love the guy, but I think it's time to go, blood. Naturally, it's going to be hard for you to kind of keep that composure because it's a really tough environment to go into. And look, it'll be a big learning curve for the players last night. And although I think part of the problem was also the fact that it was actually some of our more experienced players that kind of let us down a little bit. I'm mainly talking about James Maddison. I think things massively changed for Spurs when, look, we were still on a pump in that second half, so it wasn't like the game flipped upside down, but the game changed when Bentancur came on. He gave us a lot more composure. He actually helped out Yves Bissouma. Yves Bissouma was kind of doing the job of three players in that midfield in the first half yesterday. trying to play out from the back. He was under pressure. Maddison and Bergvall just weren't really helping him, and Bergvall really struggled. And look, I think with Lucas Bergvall, obviously we got very excited in the summer. I've got very excited because the technical excellence was kind of there for all to see, and that ability to be press proof and under pressure. And I know these kind of games are a massive step up in terms of intensity compared to pre-season, but you can still make judgments about players in those kind of environments, right? We were all kind of calling for him to like start at the start of the season, and obviously when he came on against Leicester in that game, the first game of the season, he looked impressive and he was tidy and composed on the ball. Whereas, I've seen it in a couple of the Europa League games now. It's just like the game kind of passed him by a little bit in there, and it massively passed him by yesterday.
Sorry, mate. In our preview for the season start, I said this just shows don't fucking listen to me when I talk about Spurs or anything like that. I said Bergvall will be our best player by January.
Darren and doing.
How fucking stupid that was.
Darren and doing podcast. To be fair, like I said, I think a lot of Spurs fans said by like October, November, he will break into that first team. I feel like I said
he is quality. He's quality. It's just this about like bleeding him in at the right time, and he's obviously just not ready. We'll get into him. Sorry,
and he'll be better off for that. I think he'll be better off for that last night. Look, it didn't work. He probably should have come off at half time. If you go back to the second goal or Osimhen's first goal, and that's kind of what I highlighted on my thumbnail, like. He just takes Dragusin. It's really poor from him once it gets to that position. One, he's not as good on the ball as Christian Romero. Christian Romero doesn't concede that goal, in my opinion. He plays that little sort of pass off first time to Maddison or Porro, who are in that space, and we can go. And actually, because of how many men they committed forward, there were real gaps for Spurs last night. And you kind of saw that in the second half when we went down to 10 men, and they tired. Like, they tired quite a lot. We got the goal. We completely carved through them with the goal. And we probably... If we had 11 men, we come out of that with a point. I was convinced about that. The game was kind of turning in our favour. But going back to that goal, you can literally see Maddison is asking for a simple square pass from Bergvall. He holds on for it for way too long. Dragusin is literally pointing at him, going, play the ball, play it, pass the ball. And then he ends up going back to Davis. Dragusin is still saying, pass the ball to Davis. He's also then gesticulating to the left back to say, Davis has got to go that way. He's pointing. He doesn't want it, and look, he doesn't deal with it very well at all, Dragusin. And look, he's not exactly had the easiest ride in the Europa League, and he's not looked the best. He's only played he's played 2 games now, obviously because of he got sent off in the 7th minute of the first one, then got banned obviously for the second one. Was okay against RZ, but again, I think a lot of the on the ball frailties kind of came to the fore in that game as well. Got caught out a couple of times, and then obviously last night. But stick him next to Christian Romero, and he looks like a different defender. So he's young, he'll learn. I think there's a lot of harsh criticism coming his way, a lot of fair criticism as well. But I think he kind of epitomised what we lacked as a team, especially in the first half, was any sort of sense of kind of composure. And Ange said it. Look, I think Ange has got to take some of the responsibility about the fact that maybe there's an argument to suggest that we shouldn't continue to play this way all the time when we haven't got the players to play out from the back. And also, a lot of the chances they were getting was from our real lack of intense press in the other third of the pitch. That was then leaving the midfield so exposed. They were able to play through us so easily, and then they transitioned from defence to attack just like that. So there was a real kind of problem in both sort of both boxes, but like both final thirds of the pitch yesterday in terms of Spurs' ability to play out, and our pressing just really wasn't there. And I think a lot of that changed in the second half when, like I said, we were still under pressure, but midfield looks so different when you put Bentancur and Sarr in it, it is what it is.
You don't think it will affect our momentum in the Premier League, do you? Obviously going into Ipswich, we'll get into Ipswich near the end of the pod, but do you think, because there was a lot of changes, do you think we'll just take down the chin and move on? I think the fan base are in a good headspace right now. The majority of them.
Yeah.
I don't think we're getting down too much about it. It was frustrating. And can I just say, when I said I sort of dismissed if you're feeling frustrated about the game, like, of course you're going to be. We fucking lost. Sorry, that was, I didn't mean it like that. But like, I'm not. I mean, I didn't watch it, so I don't really actually have an opinion here. But I was expecting this sort of result yesterday, and I was expecting a lot of change, and I was expecting just move on now to Ipswich. Do you think that's where we are now? Just like to keep the momentum that we're gaining in other competitions going into Ipswich at the weekend.
I think so. I think so. I think from the reaction that I've seen on social media, like I put out my match review after the game on TikTok yesterday, and obviously spoke about it in my more kind of in-depth one on YouTube today. Like, I think that's probably the most unbothered I've been about a Spurs loss, certainly since Andrew's been here. Because we were in a good space coming into the game. Look, it was always going to be a tough game away from home, and we did not do ourselves any justice. We didn't do ourselves any favours whatsoever.
Yeah.
But I think the most important thing was probably coming away from that game unscathed with no more injuries. When there was a moment, you probably wouldn't have seen it, but Kulusevski went out on his shoulder and was like, oh, for fuck's sake.
Oh, fucking hell.
Oh, fucking hell. There was like, but we came through it. Like, Son and Johnson came off at half time when we were 3-1 down. If that doesn't tell you about where Andrew's mind was, maybe. And I think the good thing as well was, look, I would have liked Solanke to sit on the bench for 90 minutes, and I would have liked Decky to sit on the bench for 90 minutes. But we also need you can't let the game get away from you. You have to fight back. We can't. If we'd have rolled over yesterday, and look, that game could have been fucking 8-2. Do you know what I mean? It could have been. Osimhen, as good as Osimhen is, and like, I actually love the fact that he's there. I think it's such a sick storyline. And look as well. His first goal was relatively straightforward. He also fluffed the one-on-one before that, but the finish for his second goal, their third goal, is so underappreciated. And sometimes there's not really much you can do about a great cross and a great finish, which is, I think that's kind of the case. But again, they were probably able to play through us a little bit too easy to get to that point. But yeah, like, I would have liked for those players to kind of stay on the bench, but you have to fight back. And also it means that, like, Decky played well when he came on. Rodrigo Bentancur played really well when he came on. Sarr played well when he came on. And Solanke scored a goal. Like, Solanke scored a great goal. That goal that we scored last night, by the way, and again, if you watch the highlights, you probably, like, I was watching it this morning to get some screenshots. I think they only showed it from, like, when we were down their right-hand side and then working into the box. That was a lovely move, like, from back to front. It was like, that's why the game was so bonkers, because it was like, as much as we were getting dick slapped, we kind of found our feet a little bit, and then, like, we persisted with the playing out from the back, much to Glenn Hoddle's, I was probably going to kill him off.
Shut up, Glenn. Sit down, mate.
Oh, mate. I love the Europa League, right? But he's really ruining the fun of it.
I love Glenn Hoddle, but it's like,
get Clive Allen.
Talk, Glenn.
Get Clive Allen.
Not like...
Yeah, get Clive Allen on the comms. I know he does the club comms, but
yeah. I mean, again, I heard this about Glenn Hoddle, and
mate, it was just
everyone was complaining about it. But I know
he had a point.
Games,
he absolutely had a point about it.
It's so annoying.
Yeah, he had a point about it.
We don't want to hear it. We know, Glenn. Shut up.
Yeah, literally, it was just like, shut the fuck up. He just kept going. Just kept going and going and going. It was like, it was quite senile almost. Like, it was just upsetting.
It's just upsetting. You know, the Osimhen thing, like you're saying, he's going to have the maddest career, isn't he? I don't think he's ever going to get the move he ever wants. And I think he's just going to bounce around clubs, and it'll be like a little bit like Falcao. I think Osimhen will have a similar career to like a Falcao, where he'll like, when he's expected to boss it, he probably won't. And then he'll be lighting up like Europa League nights or stuff, and like every Thursday for a different club, like Monaco or like, I don't know. Do you know what I mean? I can see it.
Yeah.
Galatasaray. He's very fucking Galatasaray. It's mental.
It's mad.
But I want to get into Dragusin and Bergvall. I think I'll start with Bergvall here. I'll start with Dragusin, because I saw a comment, a question saying, "Would you take Todibo and sell Dragusin if West Ham go down?" It made me laugh, because it's like, we were proper twerking for Todibo and Dragusin in January.
Yeah.
They're both shit.
Shit.
They are no, joking. They're
not shit, but
so
it's
like...
like...
obviously no, I know what you mean. But is my question is to you, Ben, mate. Obviously, we've been bigging up Dragusin, his performance, rightly so, against City and Aston Villa. But like, is there an element a bit of like being underwhelmed when it comes to him? Like, he obviously had a terrible game.
Yeah.
And like you were saying about the highlights, it was hard to sort of like suss out his full game, because the highlights would cut it off after he just lost the ball, and it would be like Dragusin just lost the ball. I didn't see it, but what I've seen in breakdowns and stuff is that he was their trigger press. He was a Galatasaray trigger press when he got on the ball, which actually is a wake-up call for those who've been calling for Romero to be dropped for Dragusin.
Yeah,
that is what's going to happen every single game. Romero is replaced by Dragusin, and then you're going to be like, "Oh my god!" we're so fragile. What the hell's going on? Romero is so good at beating the press with a pass through the lines, breaking that, and he starts pretty much every goal we score. If you look at the way we sort of break down teams and allow them to come onto us, we allow the press, but when Dragusin's there, we can't allow the press because he hasn't got that in his locker.
Yeah, he and Pat, like, there's a few players that are good at it in our team. I think Basuma's one of them. I actually think Pap Sarr is good at it as well. But from a defensive point of view, Romero is the only player that we've got that will put his foot on the ball and stop the game. Like, he will slow things down and play it at his pace because it opens up the pitch that a little bit more. It allows him more time to think. It draws players onto him naturally if they're not, because they won't trigger. Like you said about Dragusin, Dragusin doesn't have that same time because of the back catalogue of errors that he has, or the portfolio of errors that
the ball's bouncing off his shin all the fucking time.
Well, exactly. And it's like he doesn't give himself the time to put his foot on the ball because of the errors that he's made before. Teams will press him. Like you said, he's the trigger. Whereas Romero, there's no point. So Romero knows that they're not going to come to him. So he will just stop. He will put his foot on the ball and say, well, you're going to have to come to me. Like, I know you're not going to, but I will make you come to me. And if you do come, I'll either pass it sideways and it opens up the pitch. He's prepared to be patient. Whereas I think there was one of the chances they had where it was quite an unforced error from Dragusin. But it was the one where Osimhen got literally... Was it Osimhen? I don't think it was Osimhen, actually. I know it might have been Osimhen. Oh, fuck knows. He had so many chances. There was one where they literally, like, they nicked the ball off us and they were basically in one-on-one. That could have been a plethora of chances I'm talking about, by the way. I'm not describing it very well. But it was in the first half. Basically, Dragusin... It was a square ball from Davis. And Dragusin actually had quite a lot of time. It's a really poor touch. And then he's then chasing the touch. But instead of putting his foot on it and just trying to draw the players onto him, because he knows he panics under pressure, he played the ball down the line to Johnson, who wasn't quite meeting it halfway. They nicked the ball over and literally turned it over and should have scored. So he just is too kind of erratic when he's on the ball. But look, Jack Enochout tweeted last night saying, because Seb tweeted, kind of similar to what you just said. He was like, going back through the game, and in my word, the amount of mistakes Dragusin made both in and out of possession is quite remarkable for one 90-minute game of football. And Jack tweeted saying, Dragusin might be one that we look back on and say that he was a good stopgap for 18 months, but wasn't quite right for the project. Which I then...
I wrote that down in the running order, mate.
Oh, well, that point.
That's going to be my question. Yeah. Carry on, sorry.
Well, I was like, well, I said that's absolutely fine. We needed a centre-back desperately at the time, and he's such a good young defender with a lot of potential. But the downgrade when he's in the team compared to Romero as that main ball progressing centre-back is crazy. It's not that he's not good enough. That is a huge overreaction. He's a very good young defender, but has huge limitations on the ball. That's not to say these issues aren't coachable. Hopefully it'll improve. Every defender has their strengths and weaknesses. So it's kind of stuff that we've all gone over in the past. But basically what we're trying to say is that he needs Romero, otherwise he looks really bad. Like, really, really bad. I'd go as far as to say, like, for Sunday, I think Davis. If Romero's back, I'd probably feel more comfortable with Romero and Davis as a centre-back pairing. Well, actually, that's kind of contradicts what I just said because he looks better with Romero on the team. But
I know what you mean, though. I know what you mean. Like, but I think, Davis and Romero, they were together for that little period, like before Van de Ven come back last year. But
like Christmas last year.
Dragusin. I think you just got to keep playing Dragusin, and because imagine the fucking discourse if his agent starts barking, yapping after he's dropped after like a shit game. Because actually, he was. Let's not forget, he was actually he was good against City and Aston Villa. So one back game. I don't think he should be dropped. Considering he's like a 22-year-old like defender, but I think the signing is so weird in hindsight because he actually is a really good low block box defender. Yeah, we signed him he was a centre for a back three. Yeah, he looks best when he's playing Van de Ven left back, Romero next to him, and he's in the middle there. But he does that when someone said he sounds like a stopgap. That made so much sense, but I just don't think Spurs have it in their locker to actually act like that. Like, be like, okay, let's get him as a stopgap. Let's move on. Because I'm not being funny. Think about if he drops performances like this and then he doesn't play for a while and then his agent starts getting frustrated, the fan base is going to turn on him, and that's not fair on him. That isn't fair on him.
The patience will go.
Whole... Yeah, exactly. And
the next Europa League game, if he makes a mistake like against Roma or whatever, then you're right. Just fuck off then. Like, just go.
Yeah. And he's a 22-year-old. He has got really good potential, but in this Postecoglou system, you're looking at Vuskovic and thinking, yeah, you know exactly how he's going to use Vuskovic because he's brilliant on the ball and he has that sort of the thing that Romero has and in understanding, like he's press proven, he's really good at really capable in his passing, short passing, long passing, strives forward, etc. I know he's 17 years old, but I was thinking when I saw that stopgap from Jack, that sort of suggestion, I was thinking if we signed like a proper left centre back that is really good on the ball and quick, and then you get Vuskovic. You could move Dragusin on and be like, and would you cut your loss? You probably would get the same
It's only
amount of
about
money
20.
back from him, and it's
I
like
think you probably,
perfect.
I think you could
Yeah.
spend money on Dragusin. Like there is obviously, he's
Yeah.
obviously very highly rated. And look, like we've said, like I don't not rate him.
He'll
it's
be
not
brilliant for people in the future. He'll be really
yeah.
good. Just not
Imagine
for
him in a
us.
low block Serie A team. Fuck me, he looked like Maldini. Like he's a.
Oh,
That's a bit of
well,
an
he was.
He was for Romania, wasn't he? Like again, and
Yeah.
this is the thing. Like I think he looked really good against Aston Villa and Man City, where there were periods. Look, City had what was it, 70% possession of the football, so they were kind of like they were playing in front of our box for a lot of it. Villa, that game was a lot more transitional, where obviously had Romero alongside him for like the first 55 minutes anyway. And again, like we said, when you've got Dragusin and Romero, I don't really worry about Dragusin, really, to be honest. He can just be the centre back that can just, especially when you got Solanke up there, you can kind of just give it to him to chip it down the line or chip it into Solanke. Whereas next to Van der Ven or Davis, there is so much more onus on him to progress the ball, as we've kind of already gone over. But like Villa, where that game was a lot more transitional and our pressing was a lot better, left our defence less exposed, of course. But it wasn't just that first phase of the press, which meant that Villa couldn't get to our goal. It was the fact that when they did get out, Sarr was there, bang, win the ball back. That's how Solanke scored that little chip. Like, we didn't, and Ben Davis stepping out and winning that. Actually, it was Davis, wasn't it? Yeah. It was Davis that stepped out and got it. They couldn't get to our goal. So I think, I don't know. It's such a hard one because he needs game time, but it's also like I know
what you mean. It's like you're worried. You're actually worried that he'll sort of contribute to a loss or
yeah.
But that's the thing. Sometimes you need to make these errors in order to improve. But it's like it's weird. It's the equivalent of us playing under Conte and signing Van der Ven. Because you've got a really good defender because he has attributes that Van der Ven's attributes suit Postecoglou's system to a T. Dragusin probably suits a Mourinho defender to a T. Loves getting his body on the way, brilliant in the air, very physically dominant, but hasn't got blistering pace and hasn't got the technical competence to accommodate not having blistering pace. Van der Ven, imagine him just being a box defender. You're taking away his best asset from him, and he'll look a lot more average. But where he's that recovery, he's that recovery player in the transition. He is unbelievable. So I just think we're using him wrong. He's not a player for this hand system. But maybe we signed him. Maybe it's a stopgap. Maybe we signed him with the idea that in 5 years' time, Postecoglou won't be here. He'll be 27 in his prime, and we have a different manager that plays a different way. But I like the idea of going to bleed through Vuskovic. So I'm not writing him off, but bleed through Vuskovic, maybe sign a left centre back and start maybe next January or something. That's when you move on to Dragusin or something like that. That would be the smartest way to build a squad in a ruthless manner. Because sometimes you got to sign players for the like part time, and then bring in the player that is ready, and then move them on. I know Liverpool do that a lot, but they do it through loans. But we did it from a low budget signing.
We needed a centre back very badly.
Yeah, we did.
Last
year.
That's why obviously it felt like a long saga, but I think he was through the door by the start of January. Like it was first week of Jan. So I think it was my birthday actually.
Happy birthday. Matt Sapolos commented, I want to move on to Bergvall because I want to talk about Archie Graham Bergvall hand in hand because I feel like they've always come hand in hand for some reason. Just the couple of twinks coming into the Spurs for the first time together. And Matt Sapolos said, do you think we should consider loaning out Bergvall in January to a lower Prem or Championship side? I think he can be a cornerstone player for us for years to come, but feel like he needs way more game time to develop his potential rather than play once every 2 weeks, which I think is spot on. But before we lean into that question, I want to talk about. I went on to Spurs Kings TV panel on
Yeah.
Tuesday. It was really fun actually, and I hadn't been paying attention to. There was a lot of talk about Archie Gray and a frustration of him playing fullback. And I obviously didn't think he had the best game against Man City, but I hadn't really been paying too much attention to the Gray talk because I just think he's a young player. And no, I don't. And I think there's a lot more problems before we get into Gray. But I was feeling sorry by the end of it, feeling sorry for Greg because I was thinking, well, you know what? He's so good that we can kind of shoehorn him fullback because he has had experience fullback before.
Yeah.
But Postecoglou come out saying his future's in the midfield, like he's not playing in his actual position yet, which the reason he's not is because it's so crowded and he's become a bit of a victim because of how crowded the midfield area is for Spurs. But I think it would do the world of good for the team if we sign a left back, loan Bergville out, shift Gray to centre mid.
Yeah. No,
I think because it will do the world of good for everyone in that scenario. Bergville you can see him ripping up Championship, ripping up the Premier League for 1 or 2 years, coming in and being an important player for us when he's like 20, considering how young he is.
Yeah.
And gaining that physicality, the intensity, the pace, and playing week in, week out. And then Gray can develop and come into his own, playing midfield and really nail down that spot because I think he's capable of it. I mean, that ball to Johnson was fucking insane from Gray.
Lovely
and that
ball.
was from coming in from that midfield position. He cut in to the midfield and delivered that. Like I see Gray. I don't think he's capable enough at the moment to play number 6. I think it's such a demanding role, but I see him in that Sarr role.
Yeah, I agree.
What do you think about that?
I agree, and also think one thing that's important to point out with Gray and Bergvall is that I think we probably thought they'd get more game time in midfield because I don't think we really foresaw. There was a weird sort of. I don't think we didn't. Not that they're going to play in this role, but obviously we've changed how we set up in midfield. I don't think any of us foresaw the kind of that rise of Kulusevski, even though we knew that he could play there. How important he became. Again, how important Pat Matasar has once again become as well. Like there was again a weird sort of chat around him in the summer about, well, actually, like Gray or Bergvall could maybe take that sort of spot with Sarr because I think he looked burnt out towards the end of the season. So I think that's why we're all quite excited about both of them kind of being able to get more chances in midfield. But I think Matt, and I think you're right as well. Like I think he'll do him good. I'm kind of always a little bit like skeptical about when people just be like, just loan him to the Championship, rough him up a little bit, gets time on the board, be all right, sort of thing. But I think for Bergvall, I think it'd probably do him good. I think he needs to be playing regularly. I think he looked so lost in and out of possession yesterday. Whereas Gray, I think, Gray is playing. Also, like, you got to remember, Gray played a hell of a lot of football right back for the
exactly.
He's playing He's playing a left back now, like in these kind of games where
shows how good he is.
Yeah, and look, he's struggling defensively. He struggled defensively against Man City, but also like again, we don't score that first goal without him on the pitch. Again, it's one of those things where he's quite comfortable in possession in those tight areas. Leeds plays sort of possession football. He's comfortable playing down the channel, playing inside, getting into those inverted roles. He's played in midfield. Like it's just about giving him game time, I think, is the most important thing. And look, these players will be better off for that. But I think with Bergvall, we've got a lot of competition for places in that position. Obviously, we don't really know what's going to happen to Bentancur with the ban, but again, we can cover that. Unless there's a couple of injuries, I think Basuma, Sarr, Maddison, Kulusevski can kind of share that load between them for however long he is out, if he does get a ban. I think it'd be good for him to just go and get game time. Look, we all went very big on him in the summer because we are. I think he's a good player. He's a very, very bright talent, 100%. But at the same time, he needs another opportunity to go and, well, not another opportunity, but I think the Championship would be a better place or somewhere in Europe maybe for him to sort of show that and continue to get games. So, yeah.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think he's going to be sensational. He's got so much potential. I think Gray is a little bit more ready-made, and I feel bad for him because he is being shoehorned a lot to fullback because he has had. I know he's struggling, but it allows him to get game time.
Yeah,
but that's not fair on him necessarily. Like he can do it. It's just he's going to be vulnerable, and we've got a very vulnerable the way we play and the way we shape up defensively. You got to be the best of the best, so it's exposing him a little bit. But I think he's so good, and he's going to be so pivotal to us in this going forward. And I think we need to sort of trim the squad and allow him to have a bit of time, like in that midfield and show what he's capable of. But But there's a few things I want to talk about. We haven't got long. It's a very quick pod. But I wanted to talk about Lancashire, but I think we can save that for maybe the next Europa League game.
Yeah.
Because obviously he's suspended for it.
Yeah, he was. I mean, just quickly, I think he was. It was one of those things where he should have got a foul probably just before it. I think he's 19 years old in an atmosphere like that. Probably frustrated. Probably forgot that he was on a yellow. Tries to win the ball back and takes him out. You could see he was quite upset and obviously quite shocked after.
Yeah.
It is what it is. Like he'll learn from it.
Scored a goal. It's brilliant.
Scored a goal, which is great.
Yeah.
That
can do him good.
Yeah, we didn't lose that game because he got sent off. You know, it was he didn't cost us yesterday. So, although I think with 11 men we probably would have got back into it. I do think that, but again, that's not his fault. You know, it is what it is.
The beauty of the Europa League is, I mean, you think about Harry Kane. He had so many ups and downs coming through in the Europa League, like winning penalties, missing penalties, going in goal, conceding howlers in goal, like scoring goals. He was made in the Europa League, so Lancashire will know up and downs happen. They happen. That's what you get. You get at a system when you're young and you're reckless. Not that he was reckless there; he was just frustrated and happens. So nothing on Lancashire. Fair play. He scored a goal, and that's what you should hang on to, and then take the others as a learning curve. But I want to talk about been a lot of discourse after the game about Maddison. So there's a couple questions from but I'll just find him. Jackie Nickout, he says, with Maddison putting in another anonymous performance when we're under the cosh, is he somebody that could be on the chopping block in the summer? Would bring in big money that could be reinvested into somebody more consistent? And then we've got questions saying from Spurs G, Maddison had a shocking performance when he was supposed to be fighting for his place in the team. Shocking mentality from our vice captain. Should the leadership team be refurbished? And where does Maddison's future lie? And I think there's another. No, there's not actually. There's not another. But my question to you, Ben, is you spoke before about how we shouldn't have had we shouldn't really have a midfield debate, etc. Because obviously I mean, it depends on the teams we're playing and how we shape up and whether we need that sort of more physicality in the midfield. I know Maddison has improved in that. So I was just wondering, like, he's obviously been getting a lot of heat after the performance. Do you think people are overreacting to him? And because they haven't seen him since maybe like that first half at West Ham, really, Sar's come into his own, really.
Yeah.
Do you think people are overreacting? Or do you actually think that he isn't part of the Finnish article under Postecoglou? A little bit similar to, like Zinchenko, Jesus coming in to Arsenal and looking like massive parts of the leadership group, etc.
Yeah.
And then just being slowly sort of turned out of the squad.
Mm.
How do you see his future going? Because I think he's made that position his own so far this season. Let's not forget he has overall he's been positive.
Yeah.
But I get the frustrations. But I don't see him improving much more as a player.
Yeah.
We're seeing his ceiling.
I think, that's what I was going to say. I think you're right. I think you're right. Look, I think the problem is with Maddison, with the kind of divisive character that he is anyway, he's never going to get the praise for like a good performance because people want him to be great. But when he's bad, like last night, he was bad. And it's not that, look, people say that he's hiding and all this kind of stuff. I kind of see where people are coming from. I think that's obviously a bit of maybe a stretch, but and he's a different kind of player to Bentancur as well. When Bentancur came on, that midfield looked so much better. Looks so better. Looks so much better. It did look better, but he wasn't doing himself any favours whatsoever, and wasn't doing Yves Bissouma any favours either. And he got caught on the ball a couple of times, which is again going to happen. Their press was very intense. I don't know. I don't really know, to be honest. I think James Maddison has, like you said, he's had a net positive season. I think his kind of overall game has improved, I think, from last year. I think he understands that role a little bit better. When, again, like I said, we kind of have this conversation after every single game about like what our best midfield is. Should Sarr be playing? Should Maddison be playing? Right now, I think it probably is Bentancur or Bissouma and Sarr and Kulusevski and Maddison on the bench. But what a player to be able to bring off the bench, right? It's all about the kind of finding that balance and dynamic. But again, you could also make an argument for Ipswich at the weekend, who are probably going to fight for their lives down there, haven't got a win yet, are going to want to make it a little bit more difficult. And Maddison's presence in there as a creator and as a presser might help us on Sunday. It's a really tough one, Maddison. I don't think it's that deep just yet, but he's not helping himself in these kind of games. I guess is probably where I'm at. But I'm kind of like you. I think he's had a good season so far, Maddison. I think he's kind of gone under the radar a little bit because of how great Kulusevski's been, and he has, and obviously
And Sarr
Sarr as
the
well,
last few games.
and Bentancur as well. Like even Basuma's, I don't think any of our midfielders have had a bad season. Like people so
but I think there's more emphasis. There's more emphasis on Maddison because he's part of
100%.
that leadership squad.
Yeah.
And it's like this is you need to grab games by the scruff of the neck, etc. Like we've been
he's
calling
also
out
a
for
big signing as well, right? It was a big sign. It was an obvious signing last year, but it was a big signing. It was someone that there's an expectation when he comes through the door. And especially when you look at how well someone like Solanke's hit the ground running as well. I know different position, obviously, but you'd expect that level of consistency from that level of quality player as well. And look, he's not in the England squad again. Yeah, like those. The thing is, the Brentford game where he was great is why he should be in the England squad. Last night is why he's not in the England squad. Like he's too inconsistent, and I think this is probably what. Also, a lot of Leicester fans have tried to warn.
Yeah, I was just thinking that.
Like,
they did. Yeah,
he is too inconsistent. I don't want to give him too much criticism because I think he cops quite a lot.
No, I love him. I get what you mean, but do you not think if he's at the club in 5 years' time, that's poor squad management?
A little bit.
He's 27.
Yeah.
How would you feel? Yeah, because I feel like I'm being so reactionary. I'm not. I didn't even watch the game last night again to just reminder to everyone that's like that just don't listen to me. Worst podcast than ever. No, do listen. But like I'll put a suggestion out. We loan Bergvall. We sell Maddison. We sign Angelo Stiller from Stuttgart.
Reinders. He's 26, I suppose.
Reinders. But yeah, mate. Yeah, right. Yeah. But we sign someone that has that creative output, but can play a little bit deeper, a little bit fits that sort of Sarr mold with a lot more sort of like a deep line creator. How would you feel in the summer? Would you think, fucking hell, that's a bit harsh for Maddison, or do you think that's just ruthless squad building?
I'd be surprised, but
probably make a profit.
Do you reckon? Who would buy him at 20?
Maddison go for?
This is the thing with Maddison. As much as I stick up for him, as much as I like him, who's buying James Maddison next summer? Do you know what I mean? Because if the evidence is there, like he's not going to a top 6 club, is he? Is he?
Nah.
No, I don't think he is. I think this is as good as it gets in terms of his career, and he has to be the one to force. Like there is a glass ceiling for Maddison to break through. He's a very good player, but he's not a top player because top players do it on a more consistent basis than him. The levels that he shows when he plays at his best, he is that top player. But the thing that prevents him from smashing through that glass ceiling is that inconsistency. And games like he was a senior player on that pitch last night. Sonny, the thing is with Sonny, I'm not going to give Sonny any flack last night because they couldn't really get him in the game because we couldn't get out from defence to attack. And obviously Sonny's coming back, came off at half-time. Johnson again, Johnson's kind of rolling that goal, went under the radar a little bit as well. Lovely little cushion cross and that run to get behind. You couldn't really get Son and Johnson into the game other than that. So Maddison has to take responsibility for that. And you can't... What I loved, someone made a compilation about Reinders. And again, Reinders is a difficult one because I didn't quite realise how old he was. I thought he was like 23.
How old was he?
26, I think.
Fucking hell.
Well, fucking hell, sure. But someone was like, I love midfielders that aren't scared to get into the middle of the pitch. And I think that's the difference between like him and Bentancur and him and Basuma. And like, those two players aren't scared. Whereas Maddison, I think, he's quite comfortable in that left half space because he can sort of, it will open up the pitch a lot of the time. Yeah. But also, to be fair to Maddison, I think a lot of it last night was the fact that we couldn't really get the ball to him either. Like, that was also a problem. So I'm not going to go too harsh on him, although it was a disappointing performance for sure.
Disappointing because he's one of these main figure in the squad with that team, that leadership on that he was the only part of the leadership team on the pitch, and he went hiding, and that's our frustration because when he does demand the ball, when he wants to be involved in the game, he bosses a football game. But it's like when he's up for it, I feel like. But again, he has had a net positive. Let's move on to Ipswich before we wrap up. Sorry, mate. I know you got to go, but Ipswich. Quick, who will you play? Considering we played, considering the team we started with on last night.
Yeah. And
how do you think it's going to go?
Well, I was just looking on Twitter.
Haven't won a game.
Okay. So at the moment,
finally at puberty.
Van der Ven's out, Odebear's out, Werner's out, Richarlison's out. Moore's still out. He's got a virus. Spence might be back, and Romero hopefully should be back. I think Romero will be back. Please. And obviously, so I'd like to see. I think the team kind of picks itself, doesn't it, for Ipswich? If Romero is fit, I think Porro again at right back. Although you could make an argument to give Spence a go in this kind of game. Like Porro played 90 minutes yesterday.
Is he fit now, Spence?
I think he should be back, apparently, from what Andrew's saying.
It wouldn't be a big drop off, would it, Spence?
No, a doggy got a full rest, so he'll come back in, which is a good thing because he's played a lot of football.
Yeah.
I'd probably go Romero and.
I'll say that considering it's Ipswich as well with Spence. I'll say that considering the opposition.
Yeah, why not? Why not?
Yeah.
Why not? Johnson came. I'd fuck it. I'm gonna go Spence. Fuck it, Spence. Fuck it. Spence Romero. I think Dragusin again. Like I said, I do think Davis as that balance. I do like that, but I think Dragusin has to keep playing. I think Romero alongside him. If Romero is fit, play Dragusin. I do think that, but I wouldn't really be that bothered if it was Davis. A doggy. I think Bentancur and Basuma. I think they're both playing really well at the moment. I kind of think they're two sides of the same coin, but he seems to probably
coin flip.
It is a bit of a coin flip, but I think he'll go with Bentancur. Or didn't start last night. Did really well when he came on. I think it will be Kulusevski and Sarr. Maybe Maddison again to break down that low block. Maybe. I don't really know. I need to kind of dig in a bit more to Ipswich and see a bit more how they play. And then the front three is the front three, Johnson, Son, Solanke. And again, the fact that Johnson got an assist, Solanke got a goal. They're both kind of coming in. Kulusevski had an impact. They're coming into this game with that a bit of a rest, but also that match sharpness. So, yeah.
Lancashire on a bench?
Yeah, and do you know what would be nice? I think for him to get off. Bear in mind, Richie's out, obviously. I think what would be nice if we go a goal up or a couple of goals up, give him go and sort of like, no, I don't care that you got sent off. You scored a goal in the league. Go and play. Go and get 20 minutes.
Do him a world of good.
And I wouldn't be surprised if he did that. If we were 2 up or so. Bear in mind, look, like I said, Odebear's out, Werner out, Richie out. That's 3 attacking options down the piss already. Moore out. That's 4. Did I say Moore already? Fuck knows. Richarlison, Moore, Odebear, Werner. Yeah, so that's 4 attackers gone. So he will definitely be on the bench, and I think he should definitely come on because I know it's the international break, but Solanke's been picked for England, which he thoroughly deserves. He's going to be going away for England as well. So, give him. Hopefully, Solanke gets a couple of goals. Take him off. Bring Will Lancashire on. He gets the 3rd. Bing bang boom. We're 3rd in the league and we're above Arsenal. Fuck you, cunts.
Come on, Tottenham. Do you not get a little bit anxious though, considering international break after this game?
And considering Ipswich haven't won a game.
Haven't won a game this season.
A little bit, yeah.
Before you do score predictions, you got to consider Dr. Tottenham.
Yeah. Yeah, all things considered, Dr. Tottenham included 4-1 Spurs. I just think
it's at home, isn't it?
It's at home. I think it's at home.
Oh, yeah.
2 o'clock on a Sunday.
If we went there.
Yeah, we'll be all right. I think we'll win.
Yeah.
4-1 maybe.
Again, another 4-1.
They conceded a lot of goals, Ipswich. They conceded 4 at Brentford.
5-0.
Brentford. 5-0.
5-0.
Solanke 3 goals in 3 games.
You know, you know how Bentancur come back early last season against Bournemouth or something. Came into the starting lineup. Everyone was like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah,
Romero, and then he's gonna score. He's gonna absolutely twat a header in the top bins. Run off. We're gonna be like, "Oh my god, missed you."
This.
Even though he's been gone, he only left for a little bit. He only gone for 30 minutes.
Yeah,
he's kissing the badge. No, I think it'll be 5-0. I think it'll be a massive win, and if we put that Galatasaray going to bed. Everyone. Legends, up the Spurs. Last game before the international break. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and let us know what you think and our takes on what that Galatasaray game sort of showed us. And send it to a friend if you think they'll enjoy it.
Yeah.
Let's get close to that 1,000 subscribe mark on YouTube and keep growing on Spotify and Apple Pods as well. Thanks so much for getting your questions in, Ben. Legends. See you later.
See you later, mate. Up Spurs.
Up Spurs.